Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is a most untimely contribution and debate that we're having today to pay tribute to Christopher, because he had a lifetime of politics ahead of him. He had become the standard bearer for our party in South Belfast. Nobody could rival him in that constituency, and he had made it his own within the DUP. And I have no doubt that he would have got elected in a couple of months' time with ease because of the work that he has done in that constituency. And he had a great future in this place as well. So this is untimely. But we have to accept that our ways aren't always God's ways. Difficult as that is to come to terms with, difficult for his family to come to terms with, but we have to submit to that higher authority and his sovereignty in all things, challenging at times as that may be for us. My relationship with Christopher goes back to when we were teenagers. He went to a grammar school as a working class boy, and I went to a secondary school, which he liked to point out to me on many occasions. We met at Belfast City Hall when I was representing my school, Laurel Hill, and he was representing Wellington. And very quickly, his politics were the same as mine. He had the ability then to debate, and him and I had a very effective tag team going on during that particular debate at Belfast City Hall. And so right from the age, he was 15 and I was 16, I have known Christopher from then. And it is true what they say, iron sharpens iron. And there was a group of young people within the party at that time that formed a key group within the Young Democrats, got it revived and going again, and Christopher was part of that. And I remember many an evening we would have spent as a group of young people in 1998, 1999, what can we do to build up the party? The Ulster Unionists were the dominant force at the time, and what more could we do in different constituencies to try and develop the DUP? And Christopher loved to be involved in all of that. He would have talked about Queen's University and the Students' Union and the Council a lot at those meetings. We couldn't do that. I was the University of Ulster, which of course he loved to say, well, that's not a real university. It's Queen's where it's at. And one of those kind of disparaging put-downs that he would have played on us. Similarly, when we got elected, both of us in 2005, I to Lisburn and Christopher to Belfast, he often would have said, you're just a suburb of Belfast, Lisburn. And you needed city status to deal with your inferiority complex. So Christopher was brilliant at putting you in your place in the way that he could. Both of us stood in 2007, and both of us weren't successful in 2007 to get elected to the Assembly. But I knew it was only a matter of time that Christopher would be here, and he got here in 2016. Always reminding us of that working class background that he had from Annandale. And he strove to improve himself through education. And that's how he very much believed that people from a working class background could better themselves. That commitment to education and through hard work. He championed the area that he represented, and on many occasions he had me there as Communities Minister at a time and as First Minister, and I could see in the engagements that he had across the community how he wanted to improve the constituency that he represented. And I think the tributes that are being paid to him from schools across the constituency, football clubs, local community groups, I think speaks volumes of the high esteem by which he is held. I know as a constituency representative, he helped countless people through his constituency office. And I know from speaking to Paul Porter, who worked for Christopher, I know how much they are hurting Tracy Kelly, Sarah Bunting, Nathan Anderson. And Tracy and Sarah were two local girls that he employed and then encouraged to stand at the last council elections because he wanted more women to be in politics, and he successfully got both of them elected, and they're city councillors today in Belfast. And I know that they're grieving the loss of not just a boss, but someone who was a supporter, an encourager, and he always wanted to know how they were getting on in the council, what they were doing, and would encourage them in the work. So we remember especially that group of staff as well. Christopher was DUP to his core, and he's one of the brightest and most articulate representatives that we have, and his loss will be sorely felt on these benches by our party. Both internally and publicly, within the party, Christopher had the strength of his own convictions to try and change party policy, influence party policy, and it wouldn't matter if he disagreed with the leader or friends, he would give his view. He didn't get involved in politics just to be a passenger. He wanted to be a player at the heart of the action. And so he would have sought to shape the party's positions, and then he would have went out and defended that to the public. And he would have came into this chamber at times when things were difficult and you were looking for a recruit upstairs. There's a difficult issue that needs dealt with in the chamber, and there wasn't many hands at times would go up, but Christopher would volunteer. I'll go in and I'll engage in the battle on behalf of the party. I'll go on to the TV studios and I'll engage in the battle on behalf of the party. Christopher always stepped forward for the Democratic Unionist Party in good times and in bad times. Christopher was a gentle soul. Behind that performance that he could do in this chamber, being robust, being combative, he was a gentle soul at heart, and he was compassionate. He would have been one of the first to send you a text message, to pick up the phone. How are you keeping? I know that was difficult for you. He would have walked in to your office, and at times he would have provided advice and said, just to let you know, this is what some people are saying. I'm giving you a little bit of critical advice, but it's because I want you to do well. And that was what Christopher was like. But most of all, and everyone has touched upon it, he loved his family. I would have went into his office and spent many an hour too long chatting to him. But in the run-up to Christmas, and I think Jim talked about this earlier today, I remember always saying Santa had arrived and it had stored all the presents in his office, and that's where he kept them before they were going to be delivered to his family. And to his wife Laura, who was his childhood sweetheart, and the 4 children, Trinity, Oliver, Cameron and Abigail. How devastating it must be for them to have to go through this. To his mum Karen, who was his chief canvasser, cared so much about him, wanting to do well, on the campaign trail with him at every election. We think about them. And when his children read the contributions that people have made, they can take comfort from that when they are older. But let us have it on the record that his life, short as it has been, was well lived. He achieved so much that his legacy will live on in South Belfast, it'll live on in his contribution here, and it'll live on through his family. And we thank you for all that he achieved in his life. For Christopher and I, it'll be till we meet again, and I look forward to that reunion one day with Christopher. Mr. Speaker, thank you, and thank you to colleagues for all that you've said and your support. It's very much appreciated by all of us on these benches.
I thank the member.